Hello. Happy Tuesday when I'm recording this, or happy Wednesday, or happy Sunday, whatever day you happen to be watching. I hope that you're having a good one. Today, I'm going to talk about boredom and why is it such a big deal? What's the big problem with boredom? This is something that comes up often when I start speaking to people about pornography addiction and other sorts of compulsive behaviors is when I'm bored, I drink. When I'm bored, I go on chat rooms. When I'm bored, I look at pornography, which was, a problem for me. Um, I, my solution to this was to say I'm never going to be bored again. I'm going to always be doing something to keep myself busy, and it worked. I thought it was good. I thought that was the right answer, but the thing is that life goes in cycles. We're not meant to be busy all the time. We're actually meant to have downtime. And that short term fix just didn't work for me long term. Like, I can't stay busy all the time. You burn out. And then when you burn out, you crash. And, uh, and if you have that kind of emotional or energy crash, then you might as well be bored. But uh, most of all, it's just a really unhealthy way to live, to push yourself, to push your life. So short term, kind of finding things to keep yourself occupied, to distract yourself. Again, this can be a great strategy as part of a larger strategy for dealing with an addiction or a compulsive behavior that you want to get away from. But I don't think that it can be the whole solution. If boredom is one of your problems, if boredom is one of your complaints, then I would recommend that you expose yourself to boredom a little bit. Maybe you can do this in a safe way where, or a way where you're limiting temptation or access to your vice, and uh, kind of ease yourself into it. Maybe you can um, invite friends to go out to the woods and just to sit quietly in the woods for a while. Maybe you can do it by putting your phone out of reach, bringing a notepad nearby, and just sitting quietly. Try 5 minutes. See if you can let yourself be bored for 5 minutes. Just see what happens. What I've found is that when I let myself be bored, nothing really happens. And also, when I was bored and I felt tempted to look at pornography, I found that that wasn't actually so bad either. Like, I could just be bored for a little bit, feel tempted for a bit, and nothing bad happened. Once I started to do that, I started to see some of the emotions that were underneath that. And then it's the emotions that were coming up during my experimental boredom that I was trying to avoid. Those are the emotions that I hadn't dealt with, that I didn't know how to release or how to sit with. And so they would push themselves into my awareness at every opportunity. Boredom is a great time to do that. And that's actually appropriate, is to deal with those things when you notice them as they come up. So as you're noticing that, keep that notepad handy and just write down a couple of things like what what came to the surface. Was it sadness? Was it anger? Um, did you feel more lonely? Did you have phrases come to mind like you don't have any friends, or you will never be loved, um, or you you're just broken, or what are you doing? Why are you trying to succeed anyway? What are you trying to do? Do you think you're better than us? All sorts of voices, all sorts of things can come to the surface. And if you just notice them and be gentle with yourself, give yourself a lot of grace and ask gentle questions of those emotions. I would say do this maybe a couple of times a week for a few weeks, and then start to notice the patterns, what's coming up frequently, and then start to get curious about those emotions that are coming up. Those emotions are an indicator that something's wrong. My sister had a great analogy that I'm going to steal right now, that is kind of like flags popping up. in the path as you're walking. This flag pops up. The flag isn't the problem. The flag is the emotion, and it's not the problem. But buried underneath that flag is a belief, or is a story that you have about the world, or about yourself, or about God, that is waiting to be uncovered. And the flag is just standing there saying, something is underground here. You should look for it. And when we listen to that, when we look for that, then we can earn ourselves even greater depths of freedom and self-knowledge, and you can earn even greater capacity for loving other people, as you have more grace and capacity to accept God's love for you and apply that love to yourself. So boredom is actually a natural state. Quite apart from all of the pain that can come up with boredom, boredom is actually a natural mental state. And some scientists, some researchers into human performance, human development, even learning, suggest that it is a critical brain state in order to achieve peak performance and and actually consolidate knowledge. It's where our brain takes all of the different things that have been coming at us throughout the day, and it just kind of sifts and sorts through them and decides what to file into long-term memory and what to throw away. This happens when we're sleeping as well, but boredom is another time when we can engage with that. If you don't engage with boredom in this way, if you don't engage with this kind of knowledge consolidation during the day, then your sleep can actually be poorer quality. It can be a lower quality sleep that you get because your brain's trying to do all of that, deal with an entire day while you're asleep, and it doesn't have as much time to actually do the restoration and clean up all of the leftovers that are floating around in your brain. It can't actually deal with the physical structural issues that it needs to during your sleep. So my final thought is that for Christians, we live in fear of boredom and rest because we have that old saying that idle hands are the devil's workshop. And this just isn't true in my experience. Uh, in my experience, this is a story that's been told to keep people from asking too many questions, to keep people from challenging power structures. I'm sure that there are other things that go into it. People have seen where, if you start to daydream too much, maybe you might come to conclusions that are questionable. But boredom in and of itself is actually really useful. That phrase, to my knowledge, isn't even biblical. It's not in the Bible. It's not. It's not a sentiment that is echoed anywhere. Jesus actually intentionally went and spent time by himself, away from the crowds, to just be with him and God, and that was a crucial part of his formation. If you think about all of the big stories that we know about Jesus, and the big stories that everybody's heard, is that 40 days in the wilderness, when he was just, when the Spirit led him out into the wilderness to be with God. And it was probably not so that he would be in a weak state and have to overcome more when the devil came to tempt him. It was probably so that he would be in a stronger place of identity, of knowing who he was, of really connecting with the Father, to be in a position where he could effectively resist the schemes and lies of the devil. So those are my kind of thoughts for today. Like this channel, or like the video, go ahead and hit subscribe. You can click the bell, and you'll get notified when I pop up more videos. If you comment on this video, just let me know what you're taking away, what you liked, and tell me what else you'd like to see. You're also welcome to reach out to me on social media, on my Facebook. I'm Scott White. You can also find me on Instagram at granitebear_coaching. And you can also request to join my Facebook group. So peace to you, and I hope that your journey is full of love and purpose and direction, and that you really feel the love of God today and every day as you move forward on this journey.